At the Women's Pavilion of Methodist Hospital in Germantown, a group of expectant grandparents gather for a 2-hour class called the Grandparent Connection. Registered Nurse Cathy Aiken is the class instructor. With her help, these grandparents-to-be will be ready to welcome a new family member. The class provides a refresher course for the basics, like holding a newborn, but it also dives deeply into how much things have changed since Grandma and Grandpa were parents. To find out more about those changes, I invited Cathy to our studio. What is the role, or should the role of grandparent be? I think, we all know the job description of being a parent, but maybe we don't know the job description of being a modern grandparent. What is it?
Well, today I think grandparenting is changing just because, number one, we're more engaged in what's going on because more parents are working outside the home, so they become caregivers. I think also we have to step back because young people have waited later in life to have children, and they're professionals in themselves, so they have a plan that they want to execute, and you have to play with their plan, not the plan that you think as a grandparent and how you parented.
So it's not so easy, is it? I mean, being a modern grandparent, it's not like our grandparents.
No.
Times have changed, right?
Right. What I see, and I've been teaching this for a while now, is the grandparents, they're so excited. I mean, we have reveal grandparent parties. We have reveal, when they find out the sex or whether it's multiples or whatever, but their role of coming in, is just, I don't know how to explain it. It's, they're just so much more engaged in that life than I think like
Really?
my own grandparents were. I mean, yes, my parents would carry me over to their house, but now it's like a party at our hospital when the baby's coming. The grandparents have a picnic basket. They stay through the whole labor, the induction, and everything. So it's a different time in how they want to be involved in that birth.
Yeah, times indeed have changed,
Yes,
I guess,
yes.
in that respect. Parties, yeah. But I guess that's the effect of, having a kid, welcoming a new member of the family is a big deal, isn't it?
It is. It's a life change.
It is a life-changing
It's a life
event.
change.
Is it hard for grandparents to accept the role of not being in charge all of a sudden?
I think it's definitely hard for them to be, not to have that say-so. And some of them still will voice their opinion, and there would be conflict, between especially like the son-in-law or, when it's their daughter, it's a little bit different, I think. Because that bond, if she's actually had the baby, she's probably already voiced her opinions even before the baby come because that connection is there. But when it's a mother-in-law, voicing opinions, it can be a little different there.
Yeah, it should.
Because they think they should have just as much control because that's my son that had the baby, but,
Well, in that area, I mean, should grandparents give advice or should we just sort of, lay back, keep our mouth shut?
Well, I think we need to listen to the parents because they are the parents. They're the ones that are going to be there 24/7. But I think our advice is still good. And as a grandparent myself and parent, the words I love hearing is, gosh, Mom, you really did know what you were talking about. You love hearing that.
Yeah, those are the moments you live through.
Because sometimes some of the things we have did work and, it's good, but they've got to be the parents.
Let's talk about the boomer generation a little bit, which of course is a whole topic here. But as boomers, I think as a generation, we've always been very active. Are boomer grandparents going to be different grandparents than our grandparents?
I think they are because we are a very busy group of people. We're just always engaging in different activities, and we want to take the little ones and we want them to at least hear some of the things that we used to do, but we want to be able to do. Grandparents now go to the ball games, they're at everything that's participating. My grandparents really didn't do that because they just, maybe had one car and they didn't, go to things like that. It was just, but now, I mean, grandparents are at everything. They've got the shirt that says, I'm so-and-so's child or whatever. So I think they're different. They don't like being the term grandparent in a sense of, I'm not grandma or grandmother, I want to be Gigi or Lala or, somebody like that.
Well,
they don't
along that line, I mean, boomers have always denied aging. I mean, I think we don't want to be called old,
Right.
but all of a sudden, we have the term grandparent attached to us. Doesn't that make them feel old? Is that a psychological hurdle?
It probably does, you know, but I think once they lay their eyes on that grandchild, they don't care about that part anymore.
Can there be issues between competing sets of grandparents?
Yes, you know, you see that, especially if the one grandparent may live close and versus the other one live away, where they're not always involved. There's this competition of, well, they got to spend the night at your house and they don't get to come to my house. Or, you know, especially I think sometimes with the role the father's parents aren't always included in everything. However, you know, if they live close, it's kind of hard, you know. I feel like the moms and the dads, the new parents, probably are the ones who suffer because they try to be equal with the time, but, you know, we might fight over that.
Well, they're caught in the middle, of course, but aren't they the ones that actually have to control that kind of situation?
They are.
I mean, they have to step in and take charge.
And it's good. We always tell them to set those boundaries. We teach childbirth class to set those boundaries early on, especially then there won't be drama when the baby comes.
In your classes, what are the big concerns that your class participants have when they walk in the door? What are the questions they ask you?
I think with especially the grandmothers, you know, the female role part in there, they want to know how they can help the mom the most. You know, is she going to need certain things, you know, because they hear so much in the news about, you know, postpartum depression and things like that. They don't want those triggers to come to them. And about feeding, how can they help? Because now she's wanting, you know, to breastfeed the baby and I can't do that, and, you know, what can I do? So I think the changes that have happened too, you know, as far as caring for a newborn, you know, we put them on the backs, they have car seats, you know, how we care for them. They want to know that. How do I take care of them and help this new family, you know, or help my daughter or son with this new baby? That's their biggest concerns.
So let's close out with your best advice. What's the best advice for you to give to an expectant grandparent or a new grandparent?
Well, to be patient and be listening, and then just be there to support them in however the parents want to use your support, because we can be overbearing sometimes and be not welcome maybe, but I think probably by week 2, they're going to be happy to see any support they can get after the realization of getting up and down every hour and a half for a couple of weeks. But just to be supportive and patient as the new parents adjust, as we had to adjust to what it's like to be a new parent.
Great. Thank you, Cathy, for being on The Best Times.
All right. Thank you for having us.